Throughout history, humanity has searched endlessly for the secret to success, the one timeless principle that could turn struggle into strength, dreams into reality, and effort into achievement. We've looked for it in books, in mentors, in systems, and in luck. Yet the truth has been with us since the dawn of civilization. It's not hidden in the stars, nor buried in ancient scrolls. It resides quietly within the human mind. The ancient secret behind all lasting success is simple: we become what we think about. Every great civilization, every inventor, every leader who ever left a mark on the world discovered this truth, whether they realized it or not. They understood that the mind is the creative workshop of all progress. Whatever dominates our thoughts, whether faith or fear, vision or doubt, eventually shapes our actions, our habits, and finally our destiny. This is not a matter of luck. It's a law as unchanging as gravity. The moment a person truly grasps this truth, everything changes. They stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. They cease to drift with the tides of circumstance and begin to steer their own course. When you understand that your life is a reflection of your inner world, you realize that the power to change your circumstances lies not outside of you, but within you. You become both the architect and the builder of your future. Think about it. Every advancement humanity has made began first as an idea, an invisible spark in someone's mind. The electric light, the airplane, the computer, all were once mere thoughts before they became tangible realities. The same principle applies to your life. The pictures you consistently hold in your mind, the words you repeat to yourself, and the beliefs you nurture will eventually form the world you live in. Guard your thoughts as you would guard a treasure, for that is exactly what they are. But this secret demands something in return: discipline. It requires that you control your thinking, especially when the world around you seems uncertain. Most people allow their minds to be dominated by fear, envy, or doubt. They react instead of create. They wait instead of act. Yet the person who achieves lasting success chooses his thoughts deliberately. He plants ideas of prosperity, service, and purpose and tends to them daily, just as a farmer tends his crops. And just as surely as the harvest follows the planting, success follows right thinking. Lasting success is never an accident, as the result of a mind directed toward a definite purpose and guided by consistent positive thought. It is built over time through daily effort, self-belief, and a refusal to surrender to negativity. The person who discovers this ancient secret no longer asks, "Will I succeed?" but instead declares, "I am becoming the kind of person who must succeed." The truth is eternal and simple. We become what we think about most of the time. Keep your thoughts fixed upon what you truly desire, not on what you fear. Think abundance, not lack service, not selfishness, progress, not stagnation. For as long as you hold those images with faith and persistence, life will mirror them back to you in time. That is the ancient secret behind all lasting success. Every human being carries within them the seed of greatness, a silent power waiting to be directed. The first and most powerful truth that governs all lasting success is that we become what we think about. The thoughts that occupy your mind day and night are not idle or harmless. They are the blueprints of your destiny. Every invention, every fortune, every act of courage or failure began as a single thought. You are the product of what you have consistently allowed to dwell in your mind. Whether you realize it or not, your present circumstances are the result of your past thinking, and your future will mirror what you are thinking right now. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant in it will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, your life will harvest the same. But if you plant ideas of abundance, confidence, and purpose, your life will bloom accordingly. This principle is as old as time. It was known to the ancient philosophers, taught by the wisest teachers, and rediscovered by every great thinker who ever sought to understand success. Yet most people pass through life unaware of it, treating their thoughts as random visitors instead of powerful forces. They underestimate the influence of what they allow into their minds. What you think about shapes how you feel influences what you do, and what you do determines what you become. The secret, therefore, is not in external conditions, but in mastering the direction of your thoughts. You cannot think one way and live another. You cannot fill your mind with fear and expect confidence, or with scarcity and expect abundance. Your outer world will always reflect your inner one. The person who understands this begins to live differently. They no longer waste time blaming circumstances, people, or luck. They recognize that they are the captain of their own ship. They take responsibility for their mental diet, for what they read, what they listen to, and what they believe. They learn to reject thoughts that weaken them and embrace those that strengthen their purpose. They become selective, disciplined, and deliberate in their thinking. Just as an athlete trains his body, the successful person trains his mind, knowing that thought precedes action and belief precedes achievement. Most people drift through life because they never take control of this power. They let outside influences dictate their moods, their attitudes, and their decisions. But the moment you realize that your thoughts create your reality, you awaken to your true power. You stop living as a victim of chance and begin to live as a creator of choice. You start to see that success is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become through your thoughts. The mind, once disciplined and directed toward a definite purpose, becomes unstoppable. It turns vision into action and action into results. The mind is the creative power behind everything that exists in the world. Every structure, every invention, every achievement began as a single invisible idea within someone's mind. Before a bridge was built, it was imagined. Before a symphony was written, it was heard inwardly. Before any great company existed, it lived first in the vision of one person who dared to believe it could be done. The mind has always been humanity's greatest tool, yet it is the one that most people use the least consciously. It can create beauty, success, and abundance, or it can produce confusion, failure, and fear, all depending on how it is directed. This invisible force is the origin of every visible result. Everything we see around us was once a thought brought into form through persistence and belief. When you understand that your mind is creative, you begin to treat it with respect. You realize that thoughts are not fleeting whispers, but the beginning of creation itself. The pictures you hold in your imagination, the words you repeat to yourself, and the emotions you attach to them act as blueprints for the life you are building. Most people believe success comes from external things, education, opportunity, or inheritance. But history shows countless examples of individuals who rose from nothing simply because they trained their minds to focus on possibility instead of limitation. The creative mind turns obstacles into stepping stones, problems into ideas, and uncertainty into opportunity. It doesn't wait for the perfect condition to act. It creates the conditions it needs by changing its perspective and expectation. When you understand this power, you stop underestimating the importance of mental images. Whatever you vividly imagine and emotionally believe begins to move toward you and you toward it. The creative process always starts with thought, moves to belief, then to action. The greatest artists, inventors, and thinkers knew this truth instinctively. They visualized their desired outcome, felt it as real, and then worked steadily toward it until it existed in the physical world. You can do the same in any field, for this principle is universal and timeless. The only requirement is that you use your imagination deliberately, not aimlessly. If your mind is not occupied with a definite purpose, it will fill itself with random and often negative ideas. The creative force does not discriminate between positive and negative thought. It produces in accordance with what it is given. To harness the mind's creative power, you must take control of your mental imagery. Feed your mind ideas of success, growth, and purpose. Picture yourself already possessing the qualities and results you desire, and hold that vision with calm faith and steady effort. The creative mind always responds to clarity, repetition, and belief. The more often you hold a definite idea in consciousness, the more power it gathers until it manifests through your actions and environment. Everything begins within, and nothing of lasting value is ever created without first being imagined. Control over thought is control over life. The person who learns to direct their mind deliberately possesses an advantage that no amount of luck, talent, or circumstance can replace. Most people allow their thoughts to drift like leaves in the wind, shaped by gossip, fear, or whatever happens to be popular at the moment. They react to events instead of creating them. Yet every individual who has achieved lasting success has understood one truth, that the mind must be mastered if life is to be mastered. You cannot lead your life effectively while your thoughts are led by emotions, distractions, or external influence. You must become the thinker of your thoughts, not their servant. When you govern what occupies your mind, you take command of your direction, decisions, and destiny. It begins with awareness. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through the mind, but only those that are allowed to stay take root and shape behavior. A person who constantly entertains thoughts of limitation, fear, or failure will unconsciously act in ways that produce those very results. They will avoid risk, hesitate when opportunity calls, and talk themselves out of progress. But the individual who fills their mind with courage, faith, and vision begins to move differently. Their actions are stronger, their speech more confident, and their presence more magnetic. Control of thought transforms how one sees the world and, in turn, how the world responds. To gain mastery over thought, one must practice mental discipline. This means refusing to dwell on what weakens the spirit. It means replacing every negative suggestion with a positive intention. The mind is like a lens. It magnifies whatever it focuses on. If you focus on problems, they grow larger. If you focus on possibilities, they expand. The disciplined thinker uses this power consciously. They decide each morning what kind of thoughts they will entertain, and throughout the day, they guard that decision as carefully as a treasure. When distractions, fears, or doubts arise, They do not fight them with emotion, but calmly redirect their attention toward what serves their purpose. This kind of control is not gained overnight. It is built gradually, just as physical strength is built through repeated exercise. The more you practice holding a clear and positive thought, the easier it becomes to maintain. Eventually, you reach a point where your dominant thinking patterns align with your goals, and the outer world begins to conform. Opportunities appear where before there seemed to be none. Solutions replace confusion. You find yourself attracting people and events that mirror your inner clarity. The mind, when properly directed, becomes a powerful magnet for the results you desire. Once you recognize that your thoughts determine the quality and direction of your life, you no longer surrender them to chance. For to lose control of thought is to lose control of everything. Discipline and consistency are the true companions of success. The ancient secret that governs all achievement is not revealed through a single act of inspiration, but through the daily practice of focused effort and controlled thought. It is easy to be enthusiastic for a day or determined for a week, but lasting success belongs to those who maintain their focus long after the excitement fades. Discipline is what bridges the gap between vision and reality. It transforms dreams into results and plans into progress. Without it, even the most brilliant ideas remain unrealized. The person who masters discipline gains freedom, for they are no longer ruled by moods, distractions, or laziness. They understand that every small action performed consistently builds momentum, and that momentum becomes unstoppable power over time. The disciplined mind does not seek instant gratification. It works patiently, knowing that true success is the result of small, repeated acts done well. Just as a sculptor chips away at stone to reveal the masterpiece within, the disciplined individual shapes their life one deliberate decision at a time. Each moment of focus strengthens the habit of persistence. Each effort, no matter how small, compounds into visible achievement. Those who give in to inconsistency, however, start and stop endlessly. They plant seeds but never water them long enough to see them grow. They mistake motion for progress, effort for effectiveness, and enthusiasm for endurance. But success does not respond to occasional bursts of effort. It rewards steady, directed energy. Consistency is the quiet force behind all greatness. The person who wakes each morning committed to improvement, who keeps working when others quit, who maintains faith when results are slow, that person inevitably rises above the rest. It is not brilliance that separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It is the ability to stay the course. Every habit, every skill, every form of mastery is the result of repetition guided by purpose. The more consistent your actions become, the less resistance you face. What once required effort becomes natural, automatic, effortless. Discipline turns hard work into habit and habit into character. This principle applies not only to work but to thought. To discipline the mind means to train it daily to dwell only on what uplifts and strengthens. Consistency in thought is the foundation of consistency in action. A person who holds a clear purpose in mind every day cannot help but move toward it. They do not allow setbacks to shake their belief or boredom to dull their focus. They understand that every day offers a choice to move closer to their goal or drift further away. Discipline ensures they keep moving forward step by step, hour by hour. When combined with clear vision, consistency becomes an unstoppable force that quietly builds success from the inside out. Faith is the force that turns thought into reality. It is the invisible energy that gives life to ideas and the courage to act on them. Without faith, the mind hesitates, the will weakens, and the spirit retreats before challenge. Faith is not blind hope or empty optimism. It is the calm assurance that what you desire is possible and that you are capable of bringing it into existence. Every person who has achieved greatness has faced moments of uncertainty, yet what carried them forward was belief. Belief in the goal, belief in their purpose, and belief in their ability to overcome. Faith transforms obstacles into stepping stones because it changes how the mind interprets difficulty. Where fear sees failure, faith sees opportunity. Where doubt whispers limitations, faith declares potential. The thoughts you hold with faith take root more deeply than those clouded by uncertainty. They influence not only your emotions but your behavior, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. Faith and fear cannot exist in the same mind at the same time. One must always give way to the other. When you let faith dominate your thoughts, fear loses its grip. You begin to act with conviction, and action born from conviction carries a power that uncertain effort never can. People who lack faith move hesitantly, waiting for conditions to become perfect before they begin. Those who live with faith act now, trusting that the path will unfold as they move forward. This single difference separates those who wish from those who achieve. Faith also determines how you handle adversity. Every worthwhile goal demands a test of persistence, and it is faith that sustains you during those trials. When results are delayed, when progress feels slow, it is faith that whispers, "Keep going." It reminds you that growth often happens in silence, beneath the surface, unseen but certain. The person who maintains belief through difficulty gains a strength that cannot be taught by comfort. Faith is not the denial of challenge, it is the refusal to surrender to it. It is the inner conviction that you are moving toward something greater, even when the outer world gives you no proof. To develop faith, you must constantly feed your mind with images of success, not failure. You must affirm to yourself again and again that what you desire is attainable and that the power to achieve it already lies within you. Repetition builds belief, and belief shapes behavior. The more you focus on possibility, the more your mind begins to search for ways to make it real. The more you speak words of confidence, the more confidence becomes your natural state. Faith grows through thought, speech, and action aligned toward a definite purpose. It is the bridge between imagination and realization, between who you are and who you are becoming. Faith keeps your vision alive when fear demands surrender, and it transforms that vision into the substance of success. Lasting success is never the product of luck or chance. It is the natural result of a universal law, the law of cause and effect. Everything that happens in your life is the effect of a cause set in motion by your own thoughts, words, and actions. Just as planting a seed produces a specific kind of harvest, the mental and emotional seeds you plant each day produce the conditions and results you experience. Success, therefore, is not mysterious. It follows predictable patterns. If you think clearly, act decisively, and persist consistently, success must come to you just as surely as night follows day. This is why those who understand this law never waste time hoping for luck or waiting for fortune to favor them. They know that life does not respond to wishes but to causes. They set in motion the thoughts and behaviors that inevitably bring about the results they desire. The law of cause and effect reveals that there is no such thing as failure without reason. When a person does not achieve what they want, it is not because the law has failed them, but because they have failed to align their thoughts and actions with the outcomes they seek. Every result, whether positive or negative, is a reflection of causes previously created. This truth removes all excuses and restores power to the individual. It means that by changing the causes you set in motion, your habits, your attitude, your choices, you can change the effects that appear in your life. This understanding transforms struggle into opportunity. No longer do you see life as happening to you, you recognize that life is responding to you. This law also teaches patience and persistence. Just as a farmer does not expect an immediate harvest after planting seeds, the wise person understands that results take time. You cannot rush the law of growth any more than you can hurry the rising of the sun. What matters is the consistency of planting good seeds, thoughts of progress, gratitude, and determination, and nurturing them daily through right action. Over time, these causes compound, creating conditions that lead inevitably to success. Those who ignore this law often give up too soon, mistaking temporary delay for permanent defeat. But the person who trusts the process, who keeps planting and cultivating, eventually enjoys an abundant harvest. This principle also explains why lasting success can never be sustained by deceit, greed, or shortcuts. Negative causes may bring short-term gain, but the effects will eventually reflect the nature of their origin. Only thoughts and actions rooted in integrity, service, and purpose can produce results that endure. When you align your inner life with truth and your outer actions with consistent effort, the law of cause and effect works unfailingly in your favor. You become the master of your outcomes rather than a victim of circumstance, and success becomes not an accident of fate, but a direct result of who you have chosen to become.